to give you an idea of what's happening in the world of appraisers, we talk a lot about collaboration, working together. You know, now is the time, and we shouldn't stop with now. Now is the time to come together in meetings like this. We're going to have to work with the home builders, with the mortgage bankers, the mortgage professionals, the home builders, and the National and State Association of Bankers. And we're going to have to work together as a group to make changes. We can't wait for the NAHB no more than we can wait for our National Association of Appraiser Regulatory Officials. I've been president of that group before, vice president now, and will be president year after next. We don't have time to wait for them. We have to start today in Kentucky. And it has to start with you all, because by the time a problem filters down to solution, we've now hit another problem. So we need to start with the current. And I look forward to the opportunity of bringing our board and others to work with you. So with that, when we talk about appraiser today, this is the conversation we had. Appraisers are educated and trained to be an appraiser, but they have to decide their own specialty. Folks, there is not a class today required in all the hours that an appraiser has to take for appraising new construction. Not one. So you call someone to appraise one of your houses and new construction, and you absolutely may get someone who might not be familiar with the process, or maybe they've taken the steps to become familiar. It's just like an attorney. You wouldn't want the same person probably that's doing your contracts to represent if you had a civil matter. You know, it's a specialty practice. It's not an all-inclusive. And I often tell people, if you order an appraisal, that's like saying, today I left home and told a painter to paint my house, and when I get back home this afternoon, I can't argue with how it's done. So what is an appraisal? Folks, it's an opinion. That's all. It's an opinion of value. Now that's wide and sweeping. So it's got to be based on the market conditions, and that's where we're into the problems today, and the commodity that we're looking at. It's the property rights, not the bricks and the mortar, and not necessarily just the land. It's the ownership rights, real property. That's why they refer to it as the real property. I would guarantee most of you buy your materials pretty much competitively at the same type supplier, the same type materials, and then someone has to look at the construction, the quality. So that's kind of where we are. It is an opinion, and we then, if I can go on here and get next. We have now, through Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, come up with a system that probably befuddles you, it befuddles the lender, and it sure befuddles the appraisers. It's the Universal Appraisal Data Set. And with that, we have condition ratings and quality ratings. Now, all of you build houses, and if I ask you, how would you rate the condition, it would probably be excellent. How would you rate the quality? Then I'll let you fill in the blank. So about a year ago, we were in Washington at Fannie Mae's headquarters asking about the quality ratings. What's a Q1? And they said that the purpose of all this was consistency across the nation. Well, we asked, what is a quality one? How's it going to compare with my hometown, Winchester, and somewhere in California? And they honestly pop up on the slide, the Biltmore. That's the idea of a Q1. How many of those exist in each state and in the eye of the beholder? So that's one area that when you see these ratings, until folks have a chance to understand the pop-down menus on those ratings and qualities, you're going to get inconsistency, sometimes wild inconsistency. And that is just a training for every one of us to work. And I would beg you, when you have your meetings, bring the appraisers in, find someone who is knowledgeable of this system, work with them to work with you to understand this quality. because it is a training process. It's not all-encompassing knowledge. It's training and judgment and execution through having used it. Now, here's another problem that everyone faces, the appraisal management company concept. You know, there was a thought back in 2008 when we saw the meltdown that the problem with appraisers and appraised values, they were too high because of an interference of objectivity. So what we're going to do is take the mortgage group out, the lender out, and we're going to put a middle tier in, a third party. And that third party will be the persons who order the appraisals, who work back with the lender and back to the appraiser. And it has created some problems for the appraiser, and I'm sure it's creating problems for you, but it's running full speed. We just last year had legislation passed that our office will also regulate appraisal management companies. And I'm not quite sure what we have ahead of us. Is a lender required to use an AMC? No. I don't know if you guys do. Well, see, very, very wise. I say very wise not to say I'm belittling AMC, but you're able to keep it in-house and control the process and not control the appraiser's independence. You don't impede the independence. Buddy, I guess where you sell, you're probably seeing a lot of AMCs.
We use a software that actually does the rotation basis in-house unless we go outside for a government loan.
Right, and so either way, there's a portal that's ordering the appraisal. So now here's the problem. Can an AMC direct an appraiser to amend an opinion of value? I'll just give you yes. The answer is yes, they do. And we're having problems with that. Far more than a lender would have ever directed. We're having people like in India reviewing reports, and the appraisers are getting calls to change because the checkbox didn't appear correct to what they needed. So those are problems. How far can a Kentucky appraiser travel to complete an assignment? Folks, we give a statewide license. We can't say you have to stay within 50 miles. It's statewide. But we also have a competency requirement. If the real estate agents or the lenders or you, the home builder, are having problems with people coming to this area, not familiar with the area, tell the management company or someone in the lending process. Then if nothing's done, tell us. Because if the person doesn't belong to the multiple listing service here, if they're not knowledgeable of your building techniques, they're not competent to appraise here. All your appraisers will tell you that. And no one needs to have that problem. And is the quality of appraisal reports better today than they were before the AMC? You all tell me that. No. Is the quality poor? Is it? I guess I'm saying on a rating, is it worse today? I think you've answered that than it was before. Then what I need for you all to do, folks, is give me examples of the quality not being as good and why. And let's meet with the appraiser. Let us do it. That's our job. And if we're getting a poor quality, we don't want that. It's not fair to the consumers. And we will try our best to work with the appraiser to remediate. And then if they continue, maybe be more harsh. But we want you to let us know. Well, let me ask y'all what the point he's getting. He said, I guess it was all right to talk to the appraiser. Now, I started appraising in 1977. Had it not been for the home builders, had it not been for the realtors, had it not been for the real estate agents who were not builders, I wouldn't have had much business. So we all worked together. Now, I didn't come out of the glass box or the Pollyanna atmosphere and say, I know that you say, our contract here is X, and I look at you and say there is not a snowball's chance of me hitting X. At that point, discussion closes, right? I mean, that's just it. But if you say, hey, you appraised my dwelling, I'm needing X, and you didn't even take into consideration the 3 finished rooms in the basement, and we've had that happen. And I would say, and we'd get a call, and they'd say, well, the appraiser says they can't talk to us. How goofy is it they can't talk to you? And how is it they can't talk to the real estate agent they're going to go right back to Buddy, who hasn't been in the house, who is taking second-hand, third-hand information, trying to pass it on. And by the time we get around that circle, it's like the old story that started here and gets back around. It's nothing like how it started. So, yeah, we have in the law now, this is one of the good things we have, there shall not be a prohibition from the appraiser talking to the builder, the agent, the owner, or anyone considered necessary to obtain information, factual information. So, no, it's a law the other way, not that they can't. Now, here's the problem Fannie and Freddie have brought us. They have said routinely, cost has nothing to do with value. Everybody is bought into that real well. An appraiser will tell you, I cannot use cost to set value. Well, they can. Cost does not. You said, what's the cost? If it was that easy, I would just take his contract, add the land value, and be done. You wouldn't need an appraisal. Buddy could take that, the bankers could take that, and it'd be over. What we have to look at, what would the willing buyer in the market over an exposure period of such time as whatever we might use, is it going to take 3 months to market, 6 months, a year, what have you? And that is the price. It's not we don't estimate the value or develop opinions of value. We take a price range and say the most probable price the property would bring. So the contract is one indicator of what's called the value in use. A buyer wanted that house. They want the type of wall coverings, they want the type of carpet, they want whatever you've put in it. Now the next buyer in might say, I don't really like that. I want this wall ripped out, I want this. So it has to go on a willing buyer pay for that same property. And comparable sales are hard to find right now because of the time frame that's been put on. Here's what the problem comes. What is a comparable sale? It's as similar as possible to whatever it is you're appraising, because all the adjustments from here come over to the sales, and it's right now. Would you want someone to take a property that's sold under REO, short sale, and compare it to your new dwelling?
No.
No, are they doing it?
Yes.
Then get thee behind me, Satan, and tell me it's not to be done. It's not to be done. No, that defies logic. That is not the most typical buyer in the market. That investor I was telling him about is probably snatching up those REOs. It's not a new home buyer or a house. Arm's length transactions, what we're looking for, where we said the willing buyer has met the willing seller. They had no duress or stress. And then we wouldn't use those foreclosures. A day to sell. See, that must be within 6 months. Is not working. It's just not working right now. So we have to look in the market. Financing terms, of course, we have. Location, we're told it has to be within a mile. What if you built a house here and you've got the same type property over in Shelby County, or you've got the same type Spencer County, wherever you are here? Folks, I'm telling you to go ahead and use that. Make an adjustment for your land. If your lots here are costing X more or less than they are there, make the adjustment. But the one thing the appraiser has to learn to do, and many of them I'm sure are, tell you what they've done. It's a story being written. The report should lead the reader to an understanding. So help me, I kid you not, if I'm sending these off to India to be reviewed, they're not reviewing them, they're using a checkbox. And the appraiser could have written a wonderful novel and nobody's read it. What I'm hearing has told me we need to have work with the appraisers and have a class on the new construction and what is a comparable sale. And we've talked about that, and I hope you'll be seeing it sometime soon. But I'll answer any question I can. I don't have magic answers. Can't require appraisers to do anything outside of if they're doing something inappropriate. Then we can. But I'll be happy to work with you to make your jobs easier, their jobs easier, because I don't believe in the government setting regulations and just saying we're here to regulate you and never help you. We have to help. That's what we're for.